Hello everyone, welcome to our press conference for the 2018 Bass Pro Shops Challenge Select. Our today's winner in sudden death, round one, Mr. Ott DeFoe. Congratulations, Ott.
Thank you very much.
I want to start out by talking about a story you were just sharing with us about a fish that you didn't catch today.
Yeah.
Can you kind of share that with the fans, what the decision was like, of whether or not you're going to go down for him, and what you think that might have done to change your results today?
Yeah, that fish happened in the second period. I had just caught a 5.5. Shortly after that, caught a 2-pounder. Throw back into the same brush pile, get another bite, set the hook, fighting this fish, and it comes out. I mean, I'm fighting it. It's out kind of near the boat, makes a couple hard runs, goes back over there. I didn't think it was that deep, but it goes back over there, and I feel it get into that brush again where I'd caught it from, and I could feel it. It's down in there, and it pulls down, comes back up, pulls down a little bit. And the cool thing about Major League Fishing is you have the opportunity to leave the boat to land a fish if you so choose. So it takes me a second before that hits me of, hey, I could jump in, I can go after this fish. And I pull my hat off, empty my pockets, take my mic off. Then I think, well, I need to see just how deep it is because I'm sitting in about 22 feet of water. I slide my rod down my line to try to at least feel the leader knot that I have on my spinning rod. And I can't feel that leader knot, so I just let the rod keep sinking. It ends up that it's all the way down right on the bottom in about 20 or 22 feet. So I decide then this water's very off-colored. I can't see more than a couple feet. Down that deep, it's going to be pitch black. I'm not going to get in the water at this point in time. So I just kind of work it, and I end up sinking my rod all the way down to it and hit my bait, hit my hook, but I never felt the fish back on there again and ended up that the fish was not on there. I didn't end up breaking my line off, got my hook back, but no fish. And it felt like a big one. At that point in time, I only needed about 4.5 pounds. And if that fish was anywhere near as big as the one I'd caught first, it would have done it.
Congratulations on winning today's round.
Thank you.
What did you think when you heard that the cut weight was only going to be 12 pounds today? And how did that change your thinking once you got out on the water?
12 pounds compared to my first round on Lake Murray, 12 pounds sounded like a lot. But once we got to Lake Monticello and I saw the water color, I expected it to be a shallow water deal. I think just looking at it, it seemed like a lake that was full of bait fish. I thought it was going to be full of bass and maybe fairly easy to catch them with the stained water that it had in it. It was pretty easy to tell, going through the first period, that was not going to be the case. So that 12-pound weight, when I first heard it, I thought, yeah, I mean, this will happen. Somebody will go out, possibly first period, second period for sure, and maybe a couple people, and there's not much of a chance we'll get to fish all day. But as the day progressed, it became pretty obvious it was going to be a grind.
Tell us about the 5-pound, 5-ounce fish that you did land. I mean, how did that happen? What were you using? How deep was he?
Yeah, that fish, was really cool because I had just fished down the bank and come out to the end of that bank, and there's actually a sign on this point that basically says "fish here." You say you look for signs that say "fish here." This is a buoy that says "fish here." It says that there's a fish attractor in this area, and typically that means there's sunk brush, and it's placed there close to the shore where people can fish from shore as well as a boat. And I come around the corner and I see that, and I actually mark a couple fish on my graph. So I pick up a carbon light rod rigged with a Bass Pro Shops Nico rig worm. And I drop that worm actually straight down at some fish I saw on the graph. It hits the bottom, I pick up, it's heavy, I jerk, it's a 5.5. And when I got that fish up, there was actually another fish just as big as it was following it in. So when I saw that, I thought, man, I've got me a spot. I need 2 more casts, and I'm going to catch 2 more 5-pounders, and I'm done. But didn't end up working out quite that easily. But it was, just around that submerged brush and in about 19 to 20, 21 feet of water.
First of all, congratulations on the win today.
Thank you.
The weather's been muggy,
Yep.
rainy,
Yep.
hot, sunny. How did that affect the fishing this week?
Both days I fished so far were on what I would call the best shallow water conditions you could have for summertime fishing. It's been rainy, cloudy, both of the days I fished. I've yet to have a good top water bite go on. I expected it to happen, But there's no doubt, I feel like, that those clouds have helped the fishing and have made them better days than they would have been had they been bluebird days. So, both days I fished have been under cloudy conditions, and the fishing's not been great, but I think it would have been worse if it was bright, sunny, and no wind.
So it's kind of a two-part question. You talk about this day like you were pretty comfortable with fishing throughout the entire day, compared to elimination rounds where it seemed to me like the attitude was, man, this day's just never gonna end. Talk about that a little bit, and then do you have any familiarity whatsoever with this lake?
Number one, no, I've never even heard of that lake before. Didn't know anything about it. I had heard of a Lake Monticello, and I thought it was a power plant lake. But when we pulled in, Martin, my boat official, said, yeah, there's a Lake Monticello in Texas that's a power plant lake. So that was probably the one I was thinking of. But today I was comfortable because I knew it was only 12 pounds. I know how quick 12 pounds can work, how quick you can get there. And the neat thing about sudden death is the way that it works, that you hit that mark and you're done. And, pretty early all the way through the first period, even though I didn't have a fish, I was still, nobody was right there, nobody was about to go out, and nobody had them figured out, so I was comfortable fishing, fishing it the way that it was, and I enjoy that format because you actually have a finish line. Typically the finish line is the end of the day, and sudden death, you actually have a finish line that's all you need to do.
So you told us what you caught the big fish on, but overall for the day to catch your weight that put you out, what was your best pattern and bait that worked for you throughout the day?
It was a pretty even split. I mean, I only weighed 4 fish. They were quality fish. I had 4 that weighed over 13 pounds, and 2 of them came on that Bass Pro Shops Finnecky worm, rigged Nico style, with a 16th ounce nail weight in the head of that worm. And then the other 2 came on a Bass Pro Shops Sticko worm, Sooner Run color. I was fishing plum. Plum was the color on the Finnecky worm. But then Sooner Run and that Sticko worm, 5-inch. And I was just fishing it on a Texas rig, 3/16 ounce tungsten weight, and a 3/0 heavy duty worm hook. I caught half and half. The 5-pounder come on the Nico rig, but 2 on each is what it ended up being.
The fishing has been a bit slow this week throughout the event. And just to expand on a couple of the earlier questions, why do you suppose that is the case?
The fishing being slow here is kind of what I expected. The round I fished on Lake Murray, we fished a part of the lake that was all real clear water. There was no off-colored water. And that place has blue-black herring in it, and we're way past the prime. For most of the fishing in the South, almost anywhere you go, even a Tennessee River impoundment that you read a lot about summertime fishing being great. Even on one of those, you're kind of past the prime at this point in time in June. The lakes have been fished a lot. There's been a lot of pressure. Those fish have been, they've been beat up some. They've went out. They've grouped up. Now they've been busted up. So you're kind of to the point where that's just what you're dealing with in this part of the country and this time of the year. That's just the way it's going to be.
I want to talk for a second about the overall point standings. First, were those in your mind as you were fishing today? And you're at the top. It's now a grind. Keith Poche has secured his spot into the cups, whether he be 1 or 2, and then it's going to be either you or Marty Robinson who's going to make it. You spent a lot of time in the cups, qualifying through the selects.
Yeah.
How does that kind of play into your mind today? And then going into the championship round now, how is that going to kind of be in your head? Or do you just have to not think about it and just fish?
I try my best not to think about it and just fish, because I know if I do my job on the water, it's going to take care of itself, number one. But it is hard to not think about it, to think, man, if I do this, it'll shake out this way, or if this happens, this will work. But at the end of the day, I try to do my best to go out, fish as hard as I can, as long as I have the opportunity to, and let the chips fall where they may. But yeah, it is. Keith is definitely locked in at this point, and I was pretty sure of that, halfway through the day today, the way he was catching them, that he was going to be locked in. He was going to be full-time cup. And depending on how Marty does tomorrow, if he makes it out of his sudden death round into the championship, it'll be head to head, kind of for he and I of how it all shakes out. Thankfully, I've got a few point lead on him, but it's not. I'm not locked yet, So that'll be tense if he makes it. I would sleep better if he didn't. Marty and I are good friends, and I would like to see him make the cups as well. But at this point, it's either going to be he or I, and yeah, I would rather it be me. Just the way it is. I would expect him to say the same.
I think so too.
Will you change tackle or strategy or anything for the championship Saturday?
I've had a lot of stuff rigged every day that I've not got out of the box, and I expect it to be the same way again. I'm going to rig 30 Bass Pro rods and reels up, and there'll be some of them that apply and some of them that don't, and I expect it to be a lot the same.
So when you pull up in the morning that day, would you prefer to be back on the place you fished today, or Murray, or would you like something new?
No, it needs to be somewhere totally different. I would much rather be somewhere like what today was, where it's somewhere I've never been, never seen. I wouldn't hate to be back on Murray if we were on the upper end of it, where I've fished some before, and where the best fishing should be happening right now. If we were fishing on that very far upper end, where the rivers come in, I would like that a lot. But who knows where we'll go or what we'll do. I don't know what zones have been fished on Murray. If I had my pick of having to go back to Murray, it would definitely be to get to fish the upper end.
One last question before we let you go. You have your lovely family with you here this week, which is really nice. We always see them supporting you out on the Elite Series, cheering you on, got their little signs and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, you do great when they're not able to come, but what does that kind of do to have that nice moral support here from your wife and from your family when you're here at an event?
It's really nice, to have them to come back at the end of the day and to spend time with them. And the nice thing about Major League Fishing is that you're not practicing every day, you're not competing every single day. So there is a fair amount of downtime. And when I'm at one of these events by myself, there's a lot of thumb twiddling. There's not a lot else to do. But when they're here, it's great because it's extra time I get to spend with them during an event, which is obviously different from the norm. So it is great to have them here and get to go do things together and go to the zoo like we did yesterday, and to spend time as a family besides just the fishing part.
Well, glad to hear that you guys have enjoyed it. Congratulations again on your win, and
Thank you.
good luck in the championship.
Appreciate it.
And good.